Okay, so very rarely do I look at something and just go, wow. So I didn't think, I mean, Justin Fields was winning enough. He was athletic, relatable. Right. He's young. Nobody in Pittsburgh liked the move to Russell Wilson. And after the first couple series, all of us who were cynics looked really smart. And then something clicked, and Russell in the second half moved. He was good in the red zone. He did those little fades to a tight end or receiver. And it's like, boy, with this defense, Tomlin, Najee Harris, Arthur Smith, it's like, oh, that's a pretty good team. What did you see, especially in that second half, with Russell Wilson and the Steelers?
Colin, it's the Seahawks profile. It's the same thing he did in Seattle for all those years. It's run game profile, run game foundation as the starting point. It's play action and play action boot. It's schemed throws so that the reads are clean and defined. And then it's taking shots down the field. He's a great deep ball thrower. So Pickens will become probably more of a factor in terms of targets, volume, because they'll take those shots, which he's very, very good at. And he's very good at those fade kinds of throws. So it's basically going to be the same profile and the same formula we saw when he was in Seattle, because that's who he is. He's not necessarily a drop-back progression reader, so that's not the way you play with Russell Wilson. They had a number of really cool concepts of play-action boot where they clearly attacked voids in zones, and they did a really, really good job with it. There was a play to Darnell Washington. There was a play to Freiermuth for 30 yards, just really well-schemed plays, but they're going to look very much like the Seattle Seahawks when Wilson was there.
Yeah, well, that's not a bad thing. So
that's not a bad thing. That's an amazing thing. That's exactly what you want to hear if you're a Steelers fan. I've been very consistent in banging on this drum of saying that I wanted Russell Wilson to start from the beginning. I've been very loud and clear about that. I understand if you think Justin Fields is the future, that's fine, but Russell Wilson is today, and this team can clearly do some damage, win, make the playoffs, and then who knows, quite frankly. But I love everything Greg Cosell said here, and he really highlights the importance of not trying to make a quarterback fit your scheme and trying to find where does the quarterback excel. Because you do have two kinds of coaches in a lot of ways, right? You have some coaches that are like, this is what we do, this is the plan, this is the system, and you're gonna fit to it, and I'm gonna teach you how to fit to it. Or it's like, I look and see what you do well and go from there. And surprise, surprise, the coaches that really find the skill set and and figure out what do these quarterbacks do great and what do they do not so great, and they now structure a system to minimize what they do poorly and maximize what they do great. Surprise, surprise, that's what the great coaches do, right? That's literally what Andy Reid does with Patrick Mahomes. That's what Sean McVay has done with Goff and Matthew Stafford, right? That's what these great quarterbacks and their coaches do consistently. That's what Cliff Kingsbury's doing with Jaden Daniels. And Jaden Daniels had one of the greatest starts, if not the greatest start to any career for a quarterback, and had the greatest, I forget how many games, 4 or 5 game stretch of any quarterback, rookie or veteran, right? And it's because they're figuring out what Jaden does, what he does special, and creating a system around that, rather than Cliff coming in there and being like, well, this is what I do, this is what we're going to do, and force it. That's what you do. That's how the Eagles were able to win the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. They went back, and now I forget the years, honestly, 13 or something, whenever he was with Chip Kelly and stuff like that. They went back years and looked at college footage as well, and were like, what does Nick Foles truly excel at? That's what we're going to do. That's going to be our game plan. We're not going to try to fit him into the system and be like, hey, this is what's been working well with Carson. And it worked. They literally won the Super Bowl, obviously. They knew how to maximize. And so that's what the Steelers are doing with Russell Wilson. And that's awesome to see, right? And what's both positive and negative about this, it shows you to a degree still the strong limitations of Justin Fields. Because this offense obviously looked wildly different. I know it was one game, right? I know it was one game. But still, this game, when Russ played, there was such life to the offense, such timing and rhythm. Just as someone who's watching this game, you have belief that Russell Wilson is going to execute this offense and that the Steelers can score. When you were watching the games with Justin Fields, you were like, I don't think they're going to score. They might score because it's football. I mean, they got to put up some points. But you never felt like, all right, they're going to march down the field and score. Whereas with Russ, it felt like, oh yeah, they can pick apart a defense right now. They can take shots down the field. And they did. And they succeeded. They're not always going to succeed. Russ isn't going to go undefeated from this point on. He's going to throw a couple interceptions. He's going to go 3 and out. He's going to fumble the ball. He's a quarterback, right? But it's just so obvious. And again, to see his command, I love this. This is something, for whatever reason, I just really enjoy. I love when you see people who are in complete control of what they do, right? It's why when I watch movies, for instance, like this is going to sound weird, but I promise you it makes sense. Like Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible is one of my favorite movies because, Tom Cruise, the main guy, Ethan, he's so competent. He can do everything, right? So when you're watching him just know how to do everything. And all the cast around him, all the other characters, they have such an insane amount of trust in him that they never doubt him. Even when like the movie's made to look like, oh, is Ethan actually bad? Is he a rogue agent or whatever? Like his main guys are never doubt him. Right? When you see other movies, you see the main character struggle a lot, doubt him. Think of like even dumb stuff like Harry Potter. There's a fight between him and Ron. It's just like there's this doubt, there's this confusion. You don't really know what's true, what's not. And so it's like those can be fun too. But I love watching someone who is just hyper competent and kind of do everything. So when you see Russ out there and he's just owning that offense, and again, he's commanding the line of scrimmage and doing and executing that offense. Again, it's not to say that he's going to be perfect and do everything flawlessly, but the understanding is so deep. He knows how to execute the offense. And to me, it's so hard to watch quarterbacks who can't do that or who are just not doing it at a high level. Even if you want to say that Russ himself, his physical skill set is no longer high level, which I think you could make that argument because he's obviously not 27 years old right now. I think that's totally fair. But in terms of his ability up here to truly execute an offense, you can see it as clear as day. It's why I've been kind of banging on the drum of Aaron Rodgers, right? Aaron Rodgers might be lacking some of the physicality, but you can see the moment he is under center and he's ready to go, you can see it. Like it is clear that he is doing things that quarterbacks who are year 2, 3, 4, 5 are not doing because they can't yet. They don't have that in them. So that's what you're able to see with Russ. Russ is a true veteran. Whether you love him or hate him, that aspect can't be denied, right? There is still so much flutter and fury with Justin Fields that when you have a team like this, a team that will be more defensively led, you can have Russell Wilson succeed when you have a coordinator who understands it, right? Who gives him more purely defined reads, right? Who's not going through these more progressions and creates an offense around what Russell Wilson does best, minimizes what he does worse, have a great defense to fall back on, right? Have things where you can take some shots, but also do some short yardage gain and minimize your turnovers. And this is what you're going to get. You're going to win games. You're going to be trouble. Right. And what's cool is it's definitely a team that doesn't have a ton of like high level playoff experience, but the coaching staff does. And Russ does. Now your quarterback does. So yeah, if you find yourself in the playoffs, if you find yourself, I don't know, in an AFC championship game or division, whatever it is, against say, Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs, yeah, there would be a lot of moments where you're like, oh my God, Justin Fields, what did you just do? Like, yeah, that was a great moment, but also, what did you just do? Right? It will feel like it'll maybe be reminiscent of like Lamar Jackson's first playoff game. You're not going to have that with Russ. You're not going to have that with Mike Tomlin, right? You're not going to have that with the rest of the coaching staff. So if Russ can continue to be legit and this team can continue with its momentum, then they will absolutely just go up and up and up in my book of an actual contender, right? Mainly because of their level of play combined with their experience, combined with Mike Tomlin, right? Like, there's no doubt in my mind that Mike Tomlin's not going to have that team prepared in the playoffs, right? They're not going to be out-coached, out-prepared. I won't believe that for a second. That's like the one thing that Mike Tomlin does at elite level, right? More than anything. Higher than his defensive schemes and all that. And that's meant to be a compliment on Mike. I'm saying like he makes sure that everybody is ready to go. So again, if you can elevate the level of play and quality of play come time playoffs, I mean, you'd be a clown to doubt the Steelers. You just would. I'm not saying that they're going to go off and win the Super Bowl and do all that, but to just doubt that they won't be able to keep up or play or perform or handle the moment, no. I won't doubt that for a second. So I think there's a lot at stake here. They continue to get Russ comfortable, keep everybody, of course, as always, gotta have luck with the injury, especially with Russ coming back from the injury and whatnot. Then I think this team can absolutely, undeniably, 100% be a true contender. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Russ? How do you think he changes the Steelers' offense? Do you still wish it was Justin Fields? Are you now happy with Russ? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're excited to do it. I think we're well on our way to do it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.